Hello again and welcome to another Nick Beck's Watch Reviews. Today I bring you a brand new Seiko automatic that I've just recently purchased. But before I do, I'd just like to explain what happened with the Seiko Compass solar chronograph. I decided I wanted to send it back to the shop. It's a fabulous watch. Absolutely nothing I could criticize about it. It was absolutely gorgeous. Typical Seiko quality, which was excellent. The shop itself, I have no complaints with AMJ whatsoever. They were brilliant. Top class service, top class watch. It just didn't do it for me, and I really wanted an automatic in my collection. I sent it back to them. They were very happy to receive it, and I was refunded within 48 hours. So I really can't complain about the service. They were second to none. So moving on, this is my new Seiko. So first of all, as ever, I will show you the little card into focus there, and it's the SRPC89K1 with a water resistance of 100 meters, Hardlex crystal, and as you can see, it has the caliber 4R3523 dual movement with the date complication at 6 o'clock. So without further ado, let me show you the watch. So here it is. So as you can see, it's a black PVD coated watch. First of all, let me just give you the stats on this one. Its case size is 42.2 millimeters. The lug to lug I've measured at 50.2. The case thickness is approximately 12.8, and the lug width with this gorgeous calf leather strap is a 22 millimeter lug width. Now, moving on to the watch itself, as you can see, it's kind of like a satin finished PVD, very, very dark, sort of charcoal gunmetal grey. It's in some lights it looks black. In most lights, I'd say it looks like a really dark charcoal grey. The dial itself is a textured, kind of almost domed, graduated black into grey in the centre there. You have the sword-like hands and a very much arrow-shaped second hand. The hands themselves are luminous, as is the tip of the second hand, and the numbers are not, but just around the edge, as you can see on the chapter ring, there are pips, and the pips are actually luminous. Now, there have been a couple of little niggles about the fact that the digits are not luminous. It doesn't really bother me, and I think it may be a bit over the top if they were. So I'm actually quite happy with the way things are on this watch, and I will show you some luminous shots, and it's cracking, you know, typical good Seiko. And as you can see, written in italic on the bottom of the dial there, you've got automatic and the 24-hour clock around the edge. The date complication is framed with a matching kind of silver grey frame, and that's at 6 o'clock. And like I say, you've got a chapter ring with the second digits and the pips on the hour markers. Now, moving on to the side of the watch, as you can see, it's pretty well, get that into focus. It's pretty well brushed and smooth, and there's something I really like about this watch. There we go. I don't know what it is, but it's got that kind of retro appeal to it, and it's really classy. It does remind me of gunmetal, like a gun barrel. As you can see, it's got drilled lugs, so removing the strap and putting something different on is just going to be easy. The strap itself is a textured black satin look, kind of calf leather with white stitching that's quite prominent. And I'll just move you down to the buckle. Let's have a look there, and it's got a Seiko signed PVD black grey buckle. And flipping the watch over, the leather is actually lined inside in black, which I think is quite a nice touch, because a lot of watches I find are lined with a beige kind of leather, you know, vanilla kind of colour. And I don't know, over time and age, I think that kind of goes black, and I'm not particularly kind of keen on it. It always looks rather dirty, whereas this one is always going to look the same. So moving on, there we go. That's the 4R35 movement with the glass exhibition case, or case back, I beg your pardon, Seiko. And it has 4R35. You have stainless steel and water resistant 10 bar and the serial number. I think this is actually quite an attractive movement. I know it's not sort of beautifully decorated and, you know, thousands of pound watch kind of style, but I really like it. I think it's, I'm an amateur. I'm very into the kind of classic look, and I think that has got a classic look, and I think that's what I like about this watch. I don't think it will ever age. It's always going to be a kind of retro, classical, almost, I suppose you would call it a field watch. It does look very much like a field watch, and being Seiko, being automatic, you know what you're getting, good quality, and you know, something that's going to go the distance. So as for the weight of the watch, it's not the heaviest watch in the world, but it's substantial enough to know, obviously, because it has an automatic movement. It's certainly heavier than any quartz or even the solar watches I've had. So it's, you know, it's quite satisfying, and it's quite you know, as I say, quite substantial. And I refer back to my pebble analogy, that it feels like a solid pebble in your hand, so you know, you feel like you've got something there. So without further ado, I will give you some loom shots, and certainly before that, let me give you some wrist shots. So there we go, the Seiko Neo, I believe it's called. I mean, all Seikos have their nicknames, and I think this one's called the Neo. So the Seiko Neo on the wrist. As you can see, it's got a really nice quality feel about it. The band is lovely, and I think I'm beginning to kind of come to expect that from Seiko. I think the leather bands are very, very good quality, and probably they kind of exceed expectations. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. Feels nice on the wrist. It's very, very comfortable. It's very, I think it's very stylish. It's quite a statement, but it's also very discreet, and what's the word I'm looking for? It's very understated, and I like that in a watch. You know, I think it's one of those watches that you kind of have to know your watches to know what it is. And you know, it's not fantastically expensive, but you get an awful lot of money, an awful lot of watch for your money. And that Seiko brand, as I've said before, I love Seiko. I think Seiko are absolutely fantastic. I've had every watch you can imagine, with the exception of, you know, Patek Philippe and, you know, the really expensive ones, but up to Omega and Longines. And I don't think they have anything over Seiko. I think Seiko really holds its own. So that's my new Seiko Neo chronograph. See, I'm so into having chronograph watches that I think everything's the same, but of course it's not. So there's my new Seiko Neo field watch. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers and all my recent feedback. It's been fantastic. Thanks to a few of my very close friends, Mark, that have been very, very supportive over this, and you know, it's really appreciated. So thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon with a Casio G-Shock steel. So take care, everybody. Stay safe.